Construction Champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another episode of Construction Champions podcast, where we're burning the damn house down so we can rebuild it. Not just professionally, personally, every which way. The only way you can be the champion that you're meant to be in construction is to burn it down and rebuild it. And that don't matter what level you're on. I've been at 1 million. I've been to 25 million. Sometimes that bitch just needs burnt back down so you can build it back up. But I am super excited for our guests today. Brittany, it is fantastic to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to burn this thing down.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell all the champions out there a little bit about yourself, what excites you, and what got you here to this conversation today?
Yeah, well, I'll keep it short and concise. I'm a digital marketing expert, which is boring to most people, and I absolutely get that. I'm trying to bring the sexy back to online marketing. So I mainly help everybody that's a contractor or in the trades figure out how to market themselves better, increase their profits, and really just deal with the clients you want to deal with, because you actually can be picky and choosy with who you work with versus having to fight for scraps out there. I was born in the trade. So my dad is a retired pipe fitter of over 30 years. So I really knew from growing up, if a business in the trades is doing well, we're doing well, we're eating well. When it's not doing well, it exhibits into every other part of your family life. And so I really do love the guys that kind of have more, they could be big companies, but maybe they have those family values they want to continue to use to make sure they're growing their business. I understand that as far as my aspect of my background. So just kind of using the last 10 years of marketing experience I've built with the company, giving that to contractors, really kind of helping pay them back, because my joke is, I don't expect you to know how to market your website or optimize it or do any of those things. Just like I really don't want to have to get up on my roof and fix it. There's things we specialize in for different reasons of that nature. And I know where I'm better fitted. And I'd really help those guys do the things that they don't want to have to look at all the time.
I love it. And I'm not a big roof fan personally. I mean, I've been up on plenty of roofs, but I like a few different points of contact when I'm up on a roof. So
absolutely. I'm not too scared of heights, but yeah, shout out to those guys when they're getting on the mega commercial buildings.
Yeah, that are up there doing what they do. So that's awesome. Like I said, I'm excited for our conversation. So we're going to dive right in, and I'm going to ask the $1 million question. And that is, what makes a construction champion?
I would say what makes the biggest construction champion in my book is someone who's actually kind of like that problem solver and forward thinker. So what I mean by that is you can actually anticipate problems and think of solutions, so this can kind of come an example of like customizing what you're doing to fit your ideal client even better. Although I'm not in the trades, I married someone who is working for a construction company. And funny enough, I do get a lot on my Instagram feed of videos of people doing crazy hacks and things. And I'm learning a lot just for my own home remodeling. But what I love is I can actually see custom builders insert things into homes or commercial spaces. That's like, wow, I haven't seen that before. And what I love about it is now that person to me becomes the expert in the field, because they're kind of thinking abstractly and kind of doing problem solving things that maybe wasn't an issue, but now that you see there's a beautiful solution to it, you're like, why didn't we think of this sooner? So I really do think that the whole aspect of being a champion is really just kind of trying to be the first out there, try things, and really try to find the solutions to problems, because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to buy day in and day out from you, is you're solving their issue and they see you as the best person to resolve the issue they're going through. So that's the way to be a champion.
I love it. And being a forward thinker is something that the industry isn't necessarily known for, but I think once you've spent any amount of time, you realize there's a lot of innovators in the construction space. There is a lot of forward thinking, but a lot of times we can be looked at as an industry that's stuck in the past. And I'm sure you deal with that a lot with what you do. So how do guys become a better forward thinker?
Yeah. And if we can touch on the marketing aspect of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, really the best way I say to be forward thinking is to at all times think about who your end client is and what's going to benefit them, hands down of anything. Obviously we need to make sure we're still making a profit. We need to make sure that we're still being safe in what we're doing. But if everything in the goal in mind is to make that end client the happiest as possible, then your business is always going to succeed. Now, let's take it away from marketing. If you're doing good by your clients, isn't word of mouth the number one most natural form of how we built our business in the past? And that's kind of where those things we need to do. But to be future thinking is not everyone's sharing their referrals the same way they were previously. That is where the beautiful world of Google and the internet has really come into play to help a lot of businesses market themselves even better, to basically showcase, hey, here's what I can do. Here's how I'm providing better solutions for my guys and yours, and why you should be choosing me, and just giving those resources. So it's kind of what one thing I like to talk about when it kind of comes to the trades is everybody is worried. And if I go more to just like a homeowner, everybody's so worried about that fly by night company. I mean, most trades have been marketed as shoddy, Joe in a truck, like just the people you can't always trust, which is absolutely not true. I mean, these are the guys that are working the hardest, so it's really shitty when someone comes in, ruins that reputation because they're, rebuilding an entire neighborhood as the builder, and they're pocketing the money versus actually putting it into the supplies that homeowner has purchased for their new home build. All those things do happen. So whatever you can do to help differentiate yourself more is what's going to help you set apart. And that client say, like, I know this might be sketchy because I don't know anything, but here's everything I can see about this person, their company, what they stand for, and what type of job they're going to do. I feel more trustworthy to say and go ahead with them, whether this is commercial or residential. I mean, the in-person making that decision has to have that trust in you. And the more you can use your expertise in what you do and your skill set to differentiate yourself, the more likely you are to convert those people and continue to convert them in the future and for so that's kind of where we get a little sticky when we stay in the past. We're kind of hoping all the old methods will always work, but they don't. People are expecting you to be a lot more well-rounded when it comes to how you're getting your name out there, how you're branding yourself. That's kind of where I like to kind of help guys in the trades realize this, because if you want your son to take over this business in 10 years, even it's going to change the 10 years I'm talking to you now. Like in a decade, Ron, we're going to have a completely different episode on what you need to be doing with your business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a couple of things to that is one of the reasons I started this podcast was to get rid of the narrative that you're talking about, because like the construction industry is one industry that allows those few bad eggs to dictate the entire reputation for the entire industry.
Absolutely.
Instead of just differentiating ourselves from them and saying, hey, I understand that you might have had a bad experience with them, or hey, they're all bad eggs out there. Like just addressing it. Like we take it too personal as an industry when, there's bad doctors, there's bad lawyers, there's bad mechanics, but they don't ruin the entire taste or put a bad taste in somebody's mouth for an entire industry. But in construction, it's different. For some reason, we let that be true. And that's one of the reasons I do this podcast, is because I want people to understand that we are champions in what we do, and that the construction industry does not have to be mandated this image that has just been put out there. And it sounds like you're doing a great job of helping guys change that. When it comes to I do have a question about referrers, because I find you brought it up that things are not like they used to be. And I 100% agree with that, because like I'll even find myself on the fence to refer somebody, say somebody I have work done at my house or something, because like that trust has been broken so many times. Like everybody's done it where you referred somebody and it's been a horrible experience. And it's like, man, I know these guys are really, really good, but like you in the back of your head, I think we're just kind of in a world where that people have that fear for the referrer. Do you see that, or is that just something that I'm picking up on?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the best example I can give to this that happened most recently is we have an electrical contractor, and we know that they worked on a big project, and we said, hey, we need to put a gallery before and afters on your website to showcase how big of a commercial project this was you were working on. So you can work with more companies that maybe do sub out some of their electrical work because they just don't have the full in-house team for it. And they said they have heard so many negative things about the end result of that job, not related to electric work at all, but related to so many other things because of that main general contractor that created it and hired out the rest of the subs. They said, we don't feel comfortable putting this job on our portfolio because it won't reflect what we do, because there's so many other negatives of what the other contractors just didn't do their work and how they cut corners. And I mean, that's a sad thing, that basically someone feels like they can't showcase their job because of the other elements that went into it. So yeah, like they already knew they're probably not going to refer out if they work with another GC, you know, and they're just the electrical guy. If there's other guys they want to kind of help refer to them, they don't want to pass those names along, or they only have a very short list of who they trust. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it sucks. But the thing I realized from it is you do have to watch your back on like what your name's going to be associated with, you know, because yes, if you do everything in house, then obviously all aspects need to be watched and groomed by you and make sure they're okay. You know, the guys that are subbing out different areas of their construction models, you know, like they're kind of fearsome of the builder they're going to be going with because they've heard of a bad reputation about that builder, and they don't want to say no to the money because they need that project, but also they're so worried that they're going to get just taken advantage of, or, you know, asked for change orders that aren't going to be paid for, you know, just some things that are going to be a lot sticky in the neighborhood. And at the end of it, if I can't help them market the things that they're working on to showcase how much of an authority they are in this field and they should be doing more, then it makes it harder for everybody, you know, myself as a marketer and them as a company. And, you know, they feel as if their window of who they can work with is getting smaller because sometimes they just can't end up trusting everybody they're working with. And, you know, I don't know. I've been with this for 10 years. I have not been solely with contractors for 10 years to know a decade ago, was this the same that was happening then, or is it getting worse now? Do you have any thoughts on that? I'm just kind of curious.
I think it's just kind of strange. It's just an observation I've not met, that I've seen kind of, and I'm like, I think it all goes back to what you were talking about earlier, is being able to choose your ideal customer and who you want to work with. Like that, having the ability to say yes and no to a customer based on, is this somebody we want to work with? Is this a project we even want to do? I think that's how you start to eliminate some of that as an individual.
I completely agree. And I feel like the contractors I work with that really are trying to grow their business and do good by it is they kind of realize that once they're being so picky and choosy in one area, you know, it's time to kind of spread out some and scale their business a little more because they are being successful and profitable here. Let's pick the next city closest to us. And that's actually something we specialize in helping with them with, is capturing that next city they want to target and market to so they can grow and scale there quickly. Because yes, if you are going to be picky, you can't work with everybody, but that's not the issue. You know, like you want to have it more of an ease. You want your guys to be happier because things just aren't miserable on the job sites every single day. And so it's kind of where I do think mixing what you said with that strategy of growing and being smart and choosy with what we're doing, then that's kind of where we like to step in with these guys and say, okay, great. Glad to see some success here. Let's take it to the next level. What are the next goals you want to accomplish? And a lot of times, you know, the more they grow, the more they can bring more things in house. You know, we have some people that just specialize. So like my electrical guys are just doing commercial and residential electric. We have builders, we have remodelers, you know, we have guys that do niche or whole aspects. And that's kind of where if they don't bring on more services in-house, we know some just wanting to grow location wise in-house. So that way they can kind of continue to grow and dominate scale that way because they've honed in their process. And that's one thing that I think is pivotal with any marketing or sales or anything you're trying to do to grow the business, is you have to have that correct process in place and you have to use it. You know, like those SOPs, like everything you should be doing needs to be followed. And that you have no idea how many times I've listened to calls for our guys and said, who the hell is answering your phone? They go, Lisa, why? I'm like, well, Lisa, maybe, and I joke, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I'm home from Bourbon, you know, so we do have a little bit of a twang to how we speak, you know, just as you, Ron, we all got our characteristics on where we live. Well, my joke is that, well, it sounds like Lisa has marbles in her mouth when she is speaking and answering the phone. So if people are calling interested and they don't understand a damn thing she says, most of them are saying, oh, sorry, I think I called the wrong number. And then they hang up. I was like, you just lost business because of little things like this. So, you know, having the SOP of Lisa knows how to answer the phone. I mean, it just seems very pivotal down to one single step of how this goes. But that's where we're trying to look at it for these guys, is every part of your business really does go together. And that first step is your marketing as well.
Yeah, I wish I would have had you on my side about 13 years ago when I pointed out the same thing, is I thought that the person answering the phone was ridiculous and it should be the absolute best face the happiest, most like
Yes.
when that person answers the phone for your business, like the homeowner calling in should want to have a conversation with that person. And that's how you position yourself. And that was not received very well. It probably had a lot to do with how Ron's grown a lot through the years. It might my approach into that conversation might not been the best, but same
Yeah.
thing is we're talking about, this is the face of the company. It's the first interaction they're having. It should be a really, really good one that makes them feel all warm and fuzzy, like I called the right place. It shouldn't be.
Yep.
My favorite is always the superintendent or even the contractor or remodeler, that it's going directly to their cell phone on a job site. And the saws are in the background and they're on lunch eating. And it's like, we can do better. We
Yeah,
can do
and
better as an industry.
Yeah, and Mike might have had a hard day before that phone call came in. He's like, "How can I help you?" He's trying to be nice, but it's just been a rough day for Mike, and that's kind of where, as you're mentioning, all of these aspects are what make you different. Like you're giving that ease of that buyer's journey from the beginning of the first impression they have. So the first impression might be them calling you because it was a referral. And so who they're talking to at the front desk or whoever answers the phone plays a huge role in how the rest of the interaction is going to go. Or if it's your website, if it's the marketing we're doing to make sure you're showing up on Google, they click and then they're calling you and going from there. All those steps in a row feed into whether they're going to choose to buy from you or not. And the biggest example I can give analogy wise is the more they're going to spend with you on this project, the less work it should be for them. Because as we all think about like a luxury car experience, we are wined and dined and, every aspect and feature about this is just great and glorious because we're spending thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on this new vehicle. If you're buying an old used beater for your 16-year-old who just got their license, then yeah, it's going to be pretty quick, down and dirty. They're not going to tell you everything, like it's just not going to be the best experience for you versus the luxury. We understand that and we expect it. We're not completely can't believe that they didn't bring a champagne glass out to us as we were at the old used car dealership where everything starts at 1,500, like there's no of those type of experiences. So it's kind of where you have to look at your business and figure out who you want to attract. So again, if that ideal client is someone who, wants you to take over everything, and that's where you make more higher profit margins because they trust you just to guide them through the decisions and all they're doing is making a few design choices along the way. It's going to be easier for you. It's probably going to be a better profit. It's just a quick, easy way you know how to do it. And they're feeling as if their hand is held the whole time. They're happier. They're not questioning you, And I know with Builder Comms, I've looked you up. Like you're providing communication with them. Again, the higher price point, the more they expect to get out of you. So they would expect that clear communication on what's going on with the business, not the business, but like their project. How is the business getting through this and marketing? So you need to make sure your marketing is intact, showing them that we're going to make this as seamless of a process for you. And that's kind of what helps close them as well. Like, so those first impressions and then every step through the journey along that has to feed into the narrative that we're going to make your life simple and amazing by the end of this, because we're going to solve all of your problems with no added issues during the process.
Well, yeah, it's really about creating that smooth environment for that customer experience. I love it, everything that you're saying. I'm going to line up a softball for you because when I get people on here, I like to just get the plain and dirty definition of what exactly do you do. Because when guys hear digital marketing, they could think 100 different things. And
Yes.
can you provide some clarity for guys that are out there, guys, girls, anybody that's out there listening? What exactly is that?
I know it's always this like mysterious world when you talk about digital marketing. So thank you for asking me about that. Digital marketing to us will include your website. Does your website look good? Is it going to convert? Meaning if I find it, am I going to click and call you or submit a contact form, a quote, estimate, whatever it may be? We focus on your Google rankings. So if someone types in contractor near me, electrical companies in Louisville, Kentucky, any of these keywords, are they actually finding your business? That's a huge part of it as well. Getting reviews, reputation management is growing vastly. So I've been saying this for the last couple of years or now. It's at least a 3 to 5% increase as a ranking factor year over year, meaning that no matter what industry you are in, you have got to be getting Google reviews for your business and on a few other platforms that are helpful to your industry. We help with that as well. We also help, as I mentioned earlier, making sure you show up in your city. So locally, you're showing up and you're also showing up in the next city. So there's that relevance of visibility in relation to where you're actually located. Because when it comes to SEO and ranking online, it's all based off proximity, number one. So if you are nowhere near where you want to do business in, that's something I can kind of help consult on. We need to get around that issue as quickly as possible. Outside of that, we can help with email marketing. We're trying to bring on social media marketing as well. I do find that some of my contractors don't really get much out of that other than just to make sure it's a social proof that they're alive and well. So I can kind of help consult on, hey, at least post something once a week, post an anniversary of one of your guys, post the jobs before and after. So it's really kind of the biggest compass of what we do. Outside of that digital marketing, the thing I like to really express that I like to focus on because it's the passion of mine is marketing's one aspect. What else outside of this are you doing that's going to make sure that what you're paying me to do is actually working? So the example I gave earlier, does Lisa sound pleasant when someone calls and is looking for a $50,000 bathroom model on top of maybe their $200,000 kitchen model they're looking for? It's a $250,000 project. And if Lisa's not giving them the best client experience from minute one, you've just lost $250,000. So all those things to put in play of what your sales process looks like, and if you are doing other channels of marketing, the biggest thing I like to coach on is how can you track everywhere you're spending your money for marketing? Because this is not the time, especially as kind of worse as the economy's gotten, this is not the time to throw shit in hopes that it sticks. You can throw shit. I'm not going to stop you, but let's track it. Let's see how far that piece of bologna is sliding down the wall. Let's really kind of track and measure this because we need to make sure our dollars are working for us. And marketing's not cheap by any means, no matter who you pick, what avenue you go through, it's all going to have a cost at the end of the day. So let's make sure we're tracking that for you. So at the end of the day, you say, if you spent 10 grand here, you got 20 grand back from it. Great. Let's wash and repeat. You spent 10 grand, got maybe 1 grand out of it. Maybe let's not do that again. Helping you kind of think more realistically is kind of like the CMO for your company. So just like that marketing extension, if you could drop off these ideas to your CMO and say, do something with this, figure out what we should do about this. That's where we like to really fall in for our clients is we can focus on the stuff you need to be doing consistently. But there's all these nice little tricks and lead generation tactics you could be using because you see competition doing it and getting a good result from it. Let's try it. But let's make sure it's done correctly and let's measure it to make sure it's something we can use as a repeatable process to continue generating profit for you. So I hope that was at a 5th grade level on what we can do because I can get very technical, but even ads, we help with that as well. And that's kind of, I joke that your website, your online marketing, SEO, that's diet and exercise. You have got to have diet and exercise in your life if you want to live past the age of 60 nowadays. If not, you're going to get a heart attack, cardiac arrest, boom, you're done. We can sprinkle in diet pills. And those are things we can absolutely help you with on your journey to continually be healthy and be beach body ready for your new potential clients at all times, basically.
Awesome. No, I love that. And, I like the analogy that you like to help with other things as well, because you can bring in all the leads in the world, or if you don't have the systems or the process to convert them, it doesn't matter. You're really just throwing shit out there. So I love that. And thank you for breaking that down. Because like I said, it can guide people's minds can go all over the place. And I want people to have a clear understanding on exactly what you do. So also for all the champions out there listening, if they wanted to connect with you, talk to you, do any of that, where's the best places for them to find you?
Absolutely. Well, I might seem scary and yelling at you now, but I'm a nice person. So the easiest way is if you like what I had to say and you would like me to actually look over what you have, maybe help with a strategy, best way to get down to that is to go to my website, onethingmarketing.net. And there's a big button that says free strategy session. So I will do a complete audit, build you a strategy, everything from there. If you want to kick it around a little bit, think about it more, or just do some more research, still go to onethingmarketing.net and we have a free ebook download for trades. So it's like the 9 top strategies you should be using from marketing standpoint to help build your business. And this is along all trades, no matter what you're doing, commercial or residential, all these things do play a role in how your business grows and develops with marketing. So I would suggest you check out that. And it's spelled out ONE. So not just the number one, but ONE thing marketing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to be on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Ron. This was awesome. I can't wait to burn something down and build it back up again.
Well, I think we did definitely some burning it down and building it up today, which is what's so fantastic about doing this.
Absolutely.
So
thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show. So, Construction Champions, another great episode where we really dove into, actually, it's just my favorite part is talking about the person who answers the phone when somebody calls your business, because I went through this and I would go to different places and hear different people answer the phone. And I'd always be like, now that right there is who I want answering my phone. Actually, I don't have a need to have somebody answer the phone here where I'm at. But to be honest, I have somebody already picked out. So there's a restaurant here that we go to that the lady is one of the most joyful, great communicator. Just like every time we go there, my wife has even commented, like, if I had a business that I needed somebody to be like the voice for, that would be the person. I would offer them a job in a heartbeat. That is how important that stuff is. And we can overlook it and just think, oh, we're hiring somebody to do the office work, fire out paperwork, answer the phone. But just like Brittany said, it could be a $250,000 job that calls up and catches whoever that is on a bad day, late for lunch, thought they should already be home. What is that going to look like? Like, that is what represents our business. And you can drive phone calls and lead generation all you want. If that customer has a bad experience from the first 5 seconds of dealing with your company, you're wasting money. So, like, think about that. And if you're the one answering the phone, think about what you sound like. Next time you get off that phone, take a minute and be like, would I have wanted to deal with me, or would I have been happy if I was on the other line at the other side, other end of that phone? We used to literally, I would have people call the office to see how long it took for the phone to get answered and what the experience was like. Just people that I knew, I'd be like, just call, tell me what exactly happened at different times, because these are data points. So enough of me rambling on, but that is the truth. So, Construction Champions, make sure you go join our Construction Champions Mastermind group on Facebook. It's completely free. We're connecting guests with hosts and everybody out there. The only way we can be better as an industry is to do it together. Make sure you go to constructionchampionspodcast.com. Check out our sponsors. And until next time, be the champion you were meant to be. Hey, Construction Champions. It's your host, Ron Nussbaum here. And I want to talk to you about how you can automate all of your marketing. We've had so many people on here talk about getting the systems in place. Well, we have partnered with Build 12 and Construction Champions podcast. Les O'Hara, the founder, what really excites me is his 30 years in the industry. And now he's built a system to be able to nurture your leads and continue to utilize that. I personally use the system myself. Build 12 is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of value in there, and it's a way to start getting away from Angie's List and all of that kind of stuff and start actually creating your own leads every day and have a system for them. So go on our website, check out the show notes, go check out Build 12 and what it can do for the front end of your business today. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend going and meeting with Les and his son, Devin, and talking to him about what they built for their own business so the rest of the industry can take benefit from that. Here on Construction Champions, we're all about helping each other out. And what is better than contractors helping contractors? I say nothing. So let's go take this to the next level. Go check out Build 12. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Les or his son, Devin. We're here to help. We want to continue to grow the industry.